All right, now we are at my most favorite part. This one tidbit of information changed my entire business when I getting started a handful of years ago. I was a part of a mastermind group. I attend all sorts of different masterminds, which are great. But the big hurdle everybody was having was lead management system. What do I do with lead management on a follow-up system and keeping track and the whole flow of what's happening? What do I do with lead management, right? And people are, couldn't do it. And I tried every single, I don't want to name names, but I tried every single lead management system on the market, and nothing would work. So we're sitting in here, everyone's talking to this mastermind about this and about that, about this lead management, this, that, and the other. And Joe McCall, if you know Joe McCall from, he does the lease options, great guy, good friend. And I got to give him credit for this. But Joe said, hey, have you seen Podio? I was like, what the heck is Podio? I was like, I don't know. So I started playing around with Podio. And at first, initially, if you go into Podio as a blank screen, it's kind of intimidating because you have to. There's so many different options. There's so many things you can build and do with Podio. It's amazing. So essentially, what happened was that I spent about 3 or 4 months going through and building out the perfect what's called app suite for Podio that you guys get for free. Being part of the Flip to Freedom Academy 3.0. So you get part of that. So the bottom line is that you are able to import my Podio suite that I've taken basically 4 months to work, and that now I use in my business. Okay, so let's get into Podio. I'm excited to share with you Podio. I love Podio, and then I'm going to show you exactly how you can populate my app suite into your Podio account that you can do it. So let's get into it right now. So Podio. Okay, here is essentially a blank Podio app suite, right? And these are, right here, are called, this is basically Podio, and this is what we can populate into your account, right? And each of these are called apps. And in those apps, right, you press this over here, high five, JV partners, listings. So these are all different apps that we use in our business, okay? So people have questions, should I get Investor Fuse or should I not get Investor Fuse, right? I personally, we have Investor Fuse, and I've used Investor Fuse. I wouldn't recommend it. A lot of the automation tools we don't even use. I mean, so I have not seen the value myself yet from using Investor Fuse, but I'm not done with it. If my mind changes on that, it could. I'm not saying it's not, all that, but it really hasn't done a lot for our personal business as of yet. For automation. Anyways, so here's the app suite, and we can go through each one. We have meetings. When we have a team, you can have meetings. Contacts. These are any contacts that you have, and you can go into here. Now the cool thing is once you do this as admin, if we're going to go in and create a new contact. So it has name, company, website, job title, phone, mailing, email, service. They are partner, vendor, other, notes in there, and tags. So this is basically 4 contacts. So I'm going to leave here. Now, if you want to change anything, you can go here and you can say modify template. Okay. Now you can modify this template, and everything here is basically drag and drop. Right? So this right here was said it's required. So what if I say not required and I press, right? I press done. Or if I say company, website, what if I don't care about the website, job title, phone number, office? You can just X these out. See here it says partner. You can make different, this right here is a is a drop down. So they have different right here. They have text, they have category, which this is a category. They have date, which they have website, which is essentially a link. Email address, which that'd probably be important in here, right? Okay, they have email. But this, I would make this an email. So an email, instead of doing text right here, do email and then kill this. Boom. Right? So here, notes, any type of notes. So you can put images, money, progress, calculations, which are really cool, location and duration, done. So now you can turn around. Also, if you click this button, you can app settings right here. So we call it contacts, and you can change this if you want. Skull and crossbones, whatever. But they have all different. And you can have a format, table, badge, card, activity, and I'll show you what that is. So here's the badge, here's table. A table layout, you'll have all the contacts there. Card layout, no contacts, activity. And you can show all the activity going on in this particular app. So I like the badge settings here. Layout options. You can import, Excel import data, export your data. You can create web forms just for this. You can clone the app, right? So, here, so this is basically your contacts. So what is contacts for? Contacts is for adding any of your title company, any other vendors, maybe your mail house that you use. So you got to think about this eventually when you're going to hire a team of people. When you hire a team of people and you put them in here, they're going to be able to say, hey, listen, call up Alan from our vendor, call up Go Big Printing, or here's the website for Go Big Printing, go in there and be able to contact them and get anything that needs to be done. All right, so seller leads. All right, so if I go to seller leads, you can modify this as well. So we go add seller lead. So now when a seller calls in, right, they're gonna have this tracking number that they're gonna call in. What's gonna happen is it's gonna whisper in your ear, it's gonna say call from pre-foreclosure, right, whatever you call it. They call in pre-foreclosure. Hey, Mr. Seller, how you doing? Sean, how can I help you today? Or you're not gonna say, hey, Mr. Seller, you're gonna say, hey, Sean here, how can I help you? And or hey, this is Sean from 1-800-FAIR-OFFER. How can I help you? And they go, yeah, I got your postcard. I'm looking to sell my house. Great. And what's your name? And the name is Jim. Okay, great. What's your property address? And we have a script, and when we get into the portion where we're actually talking to the seller, what we'll do is we're going to give you a script and show you exactly how to follow the script, build rapport with them while gathering this information, right? So date created, date responded. Seller phone number, seller email. This is important, which we'll talk about here in a second. Auto AWeber email, bathrooms, bedrooms, size of the house, occupancy, rental info. All this is vacant, occupied, rented, land, rental info, month to month or long term. How much renovation you believe is needed? None. Under 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 plus, trash. The more information you can gather from the seller, the better off. Reason for selling. This is the golden part when talking to a seller. Disgruntled, unemployed, financial problems, medical reasons, pre-foreclosure, inherited property or probate, fire damage, trashed house, vacant, need cash, divorce, investor property, relocating, elderly. It's one of these. Pretty much, right? Is the property listed? You definitely want to know that. For sale by owner or no. List price if it is listed. How soon would you like to sell? So between these two, right? So let me ask you a question, Mr. Seller. Why are you looking to sell your property? Well, it's I'm actually I have to relocate. I'm moving out of town. And this is actually investment property. I had a tenant in it. They just moved out, so it's sitting vacant right now. It needs some work to the property. Okay, great. Let me ask you a question. How much work do you think it needs? Well, probably $10,000 to $15,000. So you click that, and you go, okay, I'm going to click relocate. Now it's also vacant. The house is vacant, and you relocate. and needs some definitely work, $10,000 to $15,000. So let me ask you a question, Mr. Seller. How soon would you like to sell? Well, if I can sell as soon as possible, that'd be great. Like I said, I got to relocate. I don't want to deal with this when I'm going out of town. All this is gold right here. Notes, any type of notes you can take on their story or what's happening. When you go back and are looking to call these people, or even when your team, when you hire a lead manager, if this information is put in there correctly and it translates to you if you're doing acquisitions, or it translates to your acquisition, your closer, all that information is incredibly important because it allows them to understand the story of why someone wants to sell and be able to negotiate in a better manner. So property type, right? If you have a mortgage, yes. Mortgage amount, asking price. Asking price, in our opinion, is irrelevant, right? People say, hey, I've had people say property's worth $200,000, asking price $195, and they go, oh, it's not a deal, right? And they're going to pass on that deal. But what happens is you go out and you talk to them, you look at the property, you understand the situation, what they really want to do. We get the contract for $120,000. Because the seller said, I want $195, that's what they like to get, right? I'm sure they like to get $1 million for the property. That doesn't mean they're going to get it, and here's why. Because the house needs deferred maintenance, there's other comps on the street. Once the seller is understanding, and they're educated through the process, then they can make a decision. Spoke to, yes or no. Next action, no contact yet. So now, if it's a voicemail that comes in and you take their name and their telephone number and you put it in here, you would then click no contact, right? You haven't contacted them yet. First attempt, now you contact first attempt, then second attempt. Waiting on the seller for more information. Follow up via mail. Follow up, offer submitted. Set an appointment. Reschedule, right? So if they've not contacted, that's incredibly important because you want to know if it's not been contacted. So if you're going to add in here from Podio, name, phone number, right, of the person because they called left a voicemail, you've got to click not contacted because in your sorting feature, we want to create a specific search for all the sellers that have not been contacted, right? And we want to know that. Type of deal, wholesale wrap option listing. Who's working the lead? You can put the person in there who's working the lead. Outsource lead, and you can put the outsource to contact, and it might be a realtor that you can refer it to. So all this is incredibly important. Sometimes you're going to get a lot of information. Sometimes sellers are going to be very short with you, and they're not going to give you information. That's just the way it is. But you want to be able to asking the right questions and knowing that while you're talking to the seller, you want to fill out as much information as possible. So now, if we want to go in and modify this template, we could go modify it and make it our own, right? So we could go in, seller's name, property address, send a whiteboard, yes or no, date, respondent, seller. See, we don't need this in here. You just need seller email, phone, occupation, retail info, selling listing, property listed, boom. Okay, done. Right, so you can make any modifications. Now, if we're going to do a search, right, we could go boom, and this is how we display. If we can do a search in here, waiting on seller, but if we get rid of that, and we go lead status, or next action, and we want to go not contacted yet. So what it's going to do, it's going to pull all the leads that are not contacted yet, and we can go and we can save that view, right, as not contacted. And see, you can go down here, and it's giving you all these next action type, right, who's working on it, but I would do not contact. So now every lead that comes in, you can save as not contacted. Right? And now you have all the leads are contacted, and here's where you're going to spend a lot of your time in seller leads. Now what happens is the progression of how this works. So when you are talking to a seller, then you can book an appointment with the seller, right? And then from an appointment, it goes to a whiteboard, right? And then also too, when a seller calls in, we have a campaign we're going to create. Let's talk about that. So if we're going to go in and actually add a campaign, so we're going to name a campaign. We can say direct mail. We can go postcard. That says 1-800-FAIR offer. Postcard, Google AdWords, Bing. So I'm going to go modify. I'm going to modify this template. And I'm going to go in here. I'm going to put postcard. I'm going to put branded. There we go. Bing, radio, newspaper, job examiner. Still have that. There we go. Done. So if I go through and add campaign here, now we have postcard, branded, non-branded, Google AdWords, Bing, inheritance, probate, list mailed, followed. We can have all our different lists in there. Other media, PPC clicks. We can really get down in dirty on exactly what our metrics are inside this campaign, but primarily we want to create a campaign so we can tag it to a seller lead, okay? So I'm going to leave this right here. So we create a seller campaign and we can connect it to a seller lead. Now I'm going to show you this initially, and then I'm going to take you into one of our workspaces. And we have a ton of workspaces that we use, but I'm going to take you into one of them so you can see what it looks like in action. So, right, this is under campaigns. Now, if we go back to seller leads, add seller, it says campaign. So we can pull that campaign, and now this particular lead is tied to the campaign, okay? So when we go in and we have a direct mail campaign, we're gonna go campaign, and we're gonna add a campaign, and we're gonna call it tax list. Oops. Date started, let's call it today. Boom, postcard. Let's just call that. Let's call save. Now it's saved. Now I'm going to go over here to seller leads. If I go to seller leads, add seller. I go Jim Smith. Jim Smith, and I go down here to campaign. Boom, tax default. So now I know Jim Smith came from a tax default. Does that make sense? Okay, so now leave. So we didn't save that. So now that's seller leads, right? Now once we are with a seller lead, and let's say we now make an appointment, we can make an appointment with that seller. Now unfortunately it does not translate over. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to add an appointment. We're going to have the date, right? Property address, with the property address, seller, and it will pull in the seller information. Date required. We'll pull in the seller information, who's going on the appointment, right? High probability, mid, and low probability. We'll talk about that. Offer not to exceed. You can put an offer amount in there, not to exceed. Outcome was a wholesale, option, wrap, listing, follow-up, or dead. Offer made, yes or no. We want to know if the offer is made. What campaign it came from. Again, we know that. Notes and choose files. So there we go. I'm gonna refresh the screen. So you essentially have to put the date in initially when that date is set for that appointment. So one thing about Podio, and you're going to ask for automation sequences, right? Can it push directly from a seller lead, right? From a seller lead directly to an appointment? No. If you're going to create an appointment, you can pull in the information from the appointments, but you cannot. There's no automated way to send to appointments. We tried that. So you have to actually transfer the information. So after it goes an appointment, it's either A, you got a contract, or B, you didn't. If you got a contract, then it goes on the whiteboard. Okay? Now on the whiteboard, we have different things. We have property address, on MLS, yes or no. Listing price, possibly. Contract acceptance, seller contact info. That will pull in the seller's info. If it's HUD, yes or no. Escrow agent, who the escrow agent is. Property description. Picasa link, and that could be pictures. So I'm actually going to modify template instead of Picasa because we're not using Picasa. Picture link. Okay, so now we have picture link, lockbox code, important, and this will tell if the lockbox code is currently vacant or occupied. Closing date with seller, campaign it came from. Again, we can tie that campaign in, tax default if we're going to do that. ARV, buy price, sold price spread, it will automatically calculate your spread. Actual closing date, buyer contact info, and this will pull in your buyer info from that app. Earnest money, if we've got the earnest money from the buyer, this is incredibly important. We did not have this in here at one point, and we would open up escrow with a buyer on a property we have under contract with a seller, and then we wouldn't get escrow, right? And next thing you know, it'd be 2 weeks later, and we're going, hey, are we closing on this deal? And this buyer backs out of it because we never got escrow. So what this does, it prompts the disposition person or yourself to make sure, did you get escrow, yes or no? If you haven't got it, you got to make sure you get it. Marketing, what do we do for marketing method? And inspection period, notes, who's working the deal, files, and tag. So I'm going to go market, go here. I'm going to go. So we have in escrow to purchase, sold to buyer, closed, and dead. All right, I'm going to leave that right there. So if you see over here, you're going to have some that are sold to buyer, right? In escrow to purchase, there are dead deals, right? In status. So this will give you the status of all these deals. And what it will do is you can see all the properties that are currently going through the process. All the deals that come in that you have signed with a seller are in escrow to purchase, right? If you see them over here. All the ones that are sold to a buyer, they're sold to a buyer, right? And then you have sales status and closed. You're going to have a certain amount of properties that close. And then you're going to have a certain amount of properties that are going to fall through, they're going to be dead. When you do a lot of contracts, you're going to get some dead contracts, which is part of the deal. Now, these are the major ones. We got seller leads, you got cash buyers, you can keep all your cash buyers in here. Any real estate agents that you work closely with, you can put in there. Offers, any offers that are made. Appointments, we do a lot of stuff with appointments. We do a lot of stuff in our whiteboard. JV whiteboard. We had a separate whiteboard because we wanted to separate what deals came from our JV partners and what deals came from our marketing efforts. So this right here, whiteboard, is tied to specific campaigns. JV is when we're doing a joint venture. Like for an example, we have a meetup, and once we have a meetup, right, we have some people there, and they say, hey, I got a property, I'm having a problem selling it, can you guys help me sell it? Well, that's a JV contract that will come in, and there's no marketing that's tied, no campaign that's tied to it, so we want to separate those two for revenue purposes. Campaigns, docs. We keep all of our company docs in here, our purchase contracts, our options, all that type of stuff that you guys are going to get. Vacation schedule, so we understand who's on vacation, who's moving what. When you have a bigger team, you want to know that. And bird dogs, right? Any bird dogs that you're currently working with is bringing deals or finding deals for you. High five, you can give people high fives in here, which is cool. JV partners, any other JV partners versus bird dogs, and any listings that you might have that are coming in that are referrals. So you want to keep track of your current listings. So this thing took me 4 months to build, and you can see that going through and figuring out exactly, First, it was just seller leads and cash buyers. Then we figured out the whiteboard, then how to do appointments, and then it just kind of dwarfed, basically built into this app suite. Now, I'm going to show you how to get this app suite. But see, we have agent referrals, Dean buys houses, F2F students, Phoenix, TRE goals, Velocity Capital, website project management. We have multifamily leads, Phoenix also homes in here. So we have a bunch of different workspaces. So let me go in this one right here. We just started using this at almost the beginning of the year. So here's the people. So we've got Lily is our VA that is in the Philippines that is obviously working right now. We got Liz Lopez. She is our Spanish-speaking lead manager. We got Gia. There's our basically English-speaking lead manager, but she manages the whole department. Raphael, he is our closer. Brandon is our disposition manager. Jake Carrera, he handles all of our websites. Not our websites. Handles all of our spreadsheets, all of our tracking spreadsheets and stuff. Jason, dispositions. Oops. Jason's along with dispositions. This is Lightmark Media. This is our company that we use to manage all of our Google AdWords campaigns. Alfonso is one of our closers. Obviously me. And Aaron, who is also handles our marketing as well. So basically, we got the team of people here, and some basically stuff going on since we started using. So this right here is we started using Investor Fuse. I think in early April, March or April or so, we started using that. Before we had everything under Phoenix here. So like I said, I haven't seen a massive value add as of yet to it, because it's pretty much my exact same app suite that we used seller leads. So let me go into seller leads here. We go to some of these seller leads that have come in out of 4,790. If we go in, for an example, this one, right? We have this information. Here's the address, when it came in, Rosie, booked it, stage of lead is dead, vacant property, marked as dead, single family residence, liquidated, elder, wanted to sell ASAP, conventional, and this came from Google AdWords campaign, dead deal, can't reach, they have in there, and boom. So it actually went to an appointment. So I wonder why it'd be interesting to find out why it's dead. So those are several leads. Now let me go over here to appointments so you can have an idea of what appointments look like. So if I go on appointments, but I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to look at a badge view. So now you'll be able to see all the different appointments that are happening, right? So if you go, let me pick a couple. This one right here. So this one, this was 9/6. So this right here is appointment. So it pulls in the information. High probability appointment. Appointment by Lily, booked it. Here's the property. This one was not attended. Probably because it's out in the middle of nowhere. This came from unknown 36K, May 2017. And Raphael, appointment was canceled 9/5 via email. So the seller must have canceled that particular lead. So let me go to this one. This one was Brandon. This was a high probability. So you can see asking price right there. This is his property. This is low. Property is vacant. Built 1980. Offer rejected. We have a follow-up. Jake's 10-year zip codes. There we go. So Brandon's been following up with this one. but the offer was essentially ejected. So this will go into a follow-up sequence, and once we get into how our lead automation happens, we'll go through in detail and show you exactly what happens in the lead stage along each process, so you can understand when the lead comes in, what happens with it on or before or after situations happen like that. So we go back to whiteboard. So this is a whiteboard. So if we go to, closed. Come on, load. There we go. Oh, shoot. Come on. All right. So if you see right here, Taylor, buy price 75, sold price 80, $5,000 spread. Indian School, buy price 120, sold price 143, $23,000 spread. Acatillo, 9,000, 8,000. This was a good one. Avalon, 46,000, 4,000, 8,000, 46,000, 30,000, 12,000, 42,000, 8,000, 40,000, 4,000, 40,000, 4,000, 13,000, 37,000. So some pretty good 35,000. Some smaller deals, but our average deal is about $18,000 if you take all of our deals and add them all up and take the average of them. But if you see 142, 67, 5,000, 177, 8,000, 441, 26,000, 170, we got 35, 3,005, 2,500, 35,005. So these are basically all deals that came in that have now are on the closed status. So if I click into this one right here, so this shows a medium probability potential lead, and we'll talk about that. But if we go through, it's in essentially the close. So it goes from escrow to purchase, sold to buyer, to closed, and we have who is part of the transaction, and we have all of our docs, final HUD, all the information in here. So if we need to ever go back to this particular transaction, we can, and we can look at it inside here. So sold to buyer. So we've got a couple good ones we got closing up. These are all closing within next week. So 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, about 100 plus thousands closing within the next 7 days, based upon our whiteboard. So I can go in and look at this and I can see exactly what's going on, which is pretty cool. And our whiteboard is updating constantly. It's continuous to update, constantly updates. If I go into campaigns, so it shows all the different campaigns that we have set up. So then when they tie in seller leads right here, right, they can go through and they can tie them to, let's say if I just pick this one right here, what campaign they are tied to, what campaign right here, Google AdWords January 2017. So this is our Google AdWords campaign. It's an ongoing campaign that we run for each year. So each year we'll have an ongoing Google AdWords campaign. It doesn't change as long as we know it's from Google AdWords that's coming in. So that's it. Cool. And there is some overlap. All right, so let me go back to how to populate. Okay, so to populate, right, basically what you want to do is once you sign up for Podio, and if I go to it's going to take me, I got to go to incognito window. So where does it go? Where does it go? Don't have account, sign up. That's their sign up page. Term service, privacy, sign up with Surefire, Google. I haven't been logging here. That's weird. That's that there's no like sales page. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So here is Podio. Here is their main page, I guess, that you can look at if you want. Pricing. So it's basically $9 a month, right? And that's what we have. We have the basic plan. Right there. Simple to start for everyone, $9 a month, which is really good for a software, which is awesome. So if you go in and now you populate it with our workspace, you would go invite, and you would, let me see, you go to, no, I want that, I want this. You're going to invite right there to help.flip2freedom@gmail.com. So what's going to happen is you're going to type in help.flip2freedom@gmail.com. So if you go here, right, what it's going to do is you can go in, help.flip2freedom, and then you can add Sean's new workspace. You can do that, and what's going to happen is Chelsea will populate your workspace with this app suite right here. So you can go through and look at it. So primarily, when you start using this, and as we get on in the weeks and the training, you'll understand the lead flow. I have an entire, basically, mind map of what happens in every part of a lead. So when a lead comes in, and if it's a voicemail, what happens? If it's if it's answered live, what happens? If it's a hang up, what happens? Then after that is called, right? And you either book an appointment or you don't book an appointment. What happens in a follow-up sequence? So you have an entire lead flow that you or your team can follow, and you know exactly, and it's inside of, basically the lead flow matches with Podio. So now you know exactly what happens. So now, hey, listen, I have not contacted someone, there's a voicemail, and now they're in a not contact. What do I do with that non-contact? You call them 3 times a day, right? So now if you hire somebody on or you have a VA, this is what you do in this situation if you have someone. So there is no question, and you have 100% clarity on exactly what happens to a lead. And we call it essentially the no lead left behind method.